Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin. If you would like to make use of interpretation into text, please go to the link on your screen and click Attend, and then select the language for translation. So the language will be in English.
Gumbadaroo, which is good day in the language of the Burragan people from Darling Downs region of Dalby and the Bunya Mountains, the community where I grew up in Dalby, in Queensland, Australia. Dear colleagues, welcome to the 2025 IFLA General Assembly. I'm speaking to you today from Astana, Kazakhstan, and we have many members in the auditorium here in the Congress Centre, as well as joining virtually via our meeting platform and observing via IFLA's YouTube channel. Members from over 96 countries have registered for this meeting. The hybrid option we are using allows the greatest number of members to take part. The meeting platform allows voting members to hear the motions, listen to discussion, ask questions, and then vote in real time when asked to do so. If you would like to make use of AI interpretation to text for your language, look for the link in a message on the Lumi platform. I ask our members in the room and online to ensure you have used your voting credentials to log into the meeting platform to follow the meeting. When you are asked to vote, your voting options will be shown on your device. This year, the details of registered voting members, their proxies and their weighted votes have been provided to the meeting platform company Lumi, who have been engaged to assist with this meeting. They have provided unique login and voting credentials to those members who have registered for the meeting. All voting will take place online on the platform in a secure and accurate manner. At the close of voting, results will be automatically calculated and provided to the meeting. Members also have the opportunity to ask questions. In line with IFLA's meeting protocol, please include your name and the organisation you are representing when submitting a question. Anonymous questions will not be addressed. With me for the meeting and together in Astana are Sharon Memis, IFLA's Secretary-General, who will provide the annual report, Stuart Hamilton as IFLA Interim Treasurer. He will speak to the annual accounts. Martin Wade, IFLA's parliamentarian, who will advise on procedural matters during the meeting, and Stephen Wyber, IFLA's Director of External Affairs, who will be assisting with questions and comments that are submitted online. I ask the Secretary-General for any apologies.
I have received one apology for the meeting, and this is from Jennifer Nicholson, Honorary Fellow. Are there any other apologies to be recorded? Please add these in the Q&A or indicate in the auditorium by raising your hand. If there's nothing in the Q&A, and if there are no further apologies, we will move on.
Thank you. Let us move to item 2, the establishment of a quorum. At the beginning of the meeting, there were 128 national and international association members who have paid their fees for 2025 and are not in arrears. For a quorum, we need 50% of this number plus 1, namely 65. At this time, 73 national and international associations have registered. We have a quorum. Thank you, members. A quorum has been established. Business will be transacted and implemented on the basis of a majority of votes in favour. I now move to item 3, the adoption of the agenda. I ask the Secretary-General to introduce the agenda.
Madam Chair, the agenda for the General Assembly meeting was sent to all members in good standing in May, as required by the statutes. The business of the meeting shall normally be limited to those items appearing on the agenda issued with the convening notice for the meeting. Only items of an exceptional and urgent character may be added, at the discretion of the President and with the consent of the majority of the members present or represented. Such resolutions have not been received for this meeting.
I now call for a mover and a seconder for the adoption of the agenda. I call for a mover. Ellen Tice. I call for a seconder for the motion. You may do this by adding your name and organisation in the Q&A.
Winston had his hand up.
So the motion as presented is moved by Ellen Tice and is seconded by Winston Tabb.
I will now ask if the meeting adopts the agenda. We will do this via a formal vote. Please stay with us while the vote takes place. Voting members, please make your vote now. The motion will appear on your device. There are some connectivity issues, so we'll just pause for a moment. I think we're ready. So voting has now closed. The result is 914 in favour, 10 against and 0 abstentions. The agenda is adopted. Let's move to item 4, the minutes of the previous meeting held in The Hague, the Netherlands, as a hybrid meeting on the 20th of June 2024.
The draft minutes of the meeting held in The Hague in 2024 have been distributed to all members with the General Assembly papers. These were distributed by email and are on the IFLA website with the convening notice.
Are there any corrections? If there are no corrections, I call for a mover and seconder for the motion that the minutes of the IFLA General Assembly held in The Hague on the 20th of June 2024 be approved. I call for a mover. Leslie Weir. I call for a seconder.
So the motion as presented is moved by Leslie Weir and is seconded by Claudia Lux.
We will approve the minutes via a formal vote. Please stay with us while the vote takes place. Voting members, please make your vote now. The motion will appear on your device. So I understand that there's some difficulties with the Wi-Fi at the moment, which is delaying the voting, so we'll just need to wait. Oh, here we are. They've come in now. Thank you. So the voting has closed. The result is 764 for, 10 against, and 60 abstaining. The minutes of the General Assembly held in a hybrid format on the 20th of June 2024 are approved. At this point, we remember colleagues who have been active in IFLA who have passed since June 2024. Willem Copes, Netherlands, Karina Balabundu, Papua New Guinea, John Willems, South Africa, Marilyn Tabb, United States of America, Marie-Françoise Plessard, France, Steve Weiss, United Kingdom, Andres Vilks, Latvia, Wilder B. Newman, United States of America, Clifford Lynch, United States of America, Terry L. Weech, United States of America, Joseph Jabulani Uta, Malawi, Fred Nesta, Greece, Alexandra Vanesh, Serbia, Patricia Euler, United States of America, John Spears, United States of America. I would like to particularly acknowledge the passing of Vin Copes, one of IFLA's honorary fellows who received this award in 1989. Known as a true bibliophile, he was a volunteer with IFLA for over 20 years, active in the National Library section, and had a huge impact on IFLA's publications. He helped start the IFLA Journal and the De Gruyter IFLA publication series. Wim had enormous expertise as an editor, auditor, reviewer, and publisher, which was acknowledged by all. He was the co-author of the first full volume on IFLA's history on the occasion of IFLA's 50th anniversary. As IFLA moves towards its 100th anniversary, we take this opportunity to remember Wim Copes and his contribution. I request that you rise for a moment of silence as we remember all colleagues who have died during the past year and recall with gratitude their contributions to our activities and to the library and information services profession. Please be seated. Thank you. I know that colleagues around the world will be remembering these wonderful individuals and contributors that we've lost over the past year. Today, I will provide a report to you on the work of IFLA across the last 12 months. As my term as IFLA President and the term of the current Governing Board draws to a close, I take the opportunity to also reflect on the last 2 years. Each of us is drawn to IFLA by different circumstances and prompts, but for me it was the opportunity to engage with colleagues at an international level, to develop my understanding of what we have in common, but also the differences. I remember at one of my first congresses hearing that the most important actions that could be taken by the Gates Global Libraries in a rural African community was providing electricity so that young students could read at night. It was quite a revelation for me. But it is also our focus on our values as a profession. When we come together at the annual Congress, it is an opportunity to debate and discuss the challenges that we collectively face. There are times when we have different views, but our discussions are respectful. We value diversity of views. As a profession, it is imperative that we model this behaviour through respectful discussion and a willingness to listen and identify solutions. Today, more than any other time in my career as a professional, we are more frequently articulating and defending our values to our political masters and to our respective communities, whether a city, university, school administration or corporation. It is within this context that I chose my presidential theme, Stronger Together. As a profession, we seem to have an innate drive to collaborate. By working together to find solutions, to advocate for the power of libraries, we can have stronger outcomes for the communities we serve, our countries, our associations, and IFLA. My report today reflects that through our commitment to work together, we are a strong and resilient federation. We are successfully achieving our aspiration to be the global voice of libraries. At a strategic level, through our participation at global gatherings, for example, the United Nations, UNESCO, WIPO, and the International Internet Governance Forum. Importantly, our presence and participation is actively sought by those organisations. But also through our work in the regions, through our committees, divisions, councils, advisory committees, we are profiling our expertise in specific areas of endeavour. Your work is demonstrating the relevance of an international federation whose impact reaches all parts of our field and the globe. Firstly, I would like to reflect on the last 12 months since the last General Assembly. I was excited to attend my first American Library Association conference in San Diego in July 2024. It was an extraordinary experience with 13,532 delegates, but also an opportunity to meet with colleagues at the International Relations Roundtable events. During the 2024 Governing Board meeting in The Hague, as part of our opportunity to have strong engagement with members, we met with Dutch colleagues at one of my favourite libraries, Lokaal in Tilburg. Following the GB meeting, I travelled to Athens with the Secretary-General and the Director of External Affairs for a joint workshop on e-book rights delivered by IFLA and KR21 and hosted by Christa Nicolaou, Director-General of the National Library of Greece. We then travelled to Qatar for a signing ceremony for our new regional office with the Minister for State and President of the Qatar National Library, Dr. Hamad bin Abdulaziz Al-Kahiri. This is an important achievement for IFLA, an upgrade to our presence in the MENA region, but also recognition of the specific needs of the region. The signing ceremony at the Qatar National Library coincided with a professional development program that brought together colleagues from across the region to explore the value and potential of partnerships. In January 2025, I travelled to Sharjah to represent the Federation at a celebration of 100 years of public libraries. I had previously visited the House of Wisdom in Sharjah, which is so very impressive, so I was thrilled to have the opportunity to participate in this important milestone. I also had the privilege of meeting with Sheikh Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, a strong advocate for libraries. The Governing Board met in Berlin in April this year, and again we leveraged our presence to meet with German colleagues. The Governing Board really valued the opportunity to meet with colleagues and visit libraries in their own countries, and incoming President Leslie Weir plans to continue this approach. Whilst in Europe, I attended this celebration of the 30th anniversary of the inauguration of the François Mitterrand site hosted by Guy Picot, President de la Bibliothèque Nationale de France. Closer to home, I was very pleased to be invited to be a keynote speaker at the South Australia Public Libraries Conference in May 2025. I was asked to speak to the IFLA Trend Report, which I believe is one of the strongest tools that IFLA has provided its members in recent years. And I took the opportunity to also speak broadly about the challenges facing libraries globally and the importance of advocating our role and values. In July, I visited Busan as part of the assessment for WILIC 2026. I was very impressed with the enthusiasm and commitment of our Korean colleagues. I am confident that WILIC 2026 National Committee will deliver a successful professional program aligned to our new WILIC model. In Seoul, I also met with Hee-Seop Kim at the National Library of Korea. I was very disappointed that due to family responsibilities, I withdrew from several planned visits to China, Latvia and Taiwan. I thank the respective host associations and institutions for their understanding. Australia is of course some distance from nearly everywhere in the world, so I've participated in many virtual events or provided recordings in the last 12 months to China, Croatia, Egypt, India, Kazakhstan, Korea, Mexico, Philippines, Singapore, South Africa and Thailand. Besides visits, there have been many highlights across the last 12 months. The IFLA Information Futures Summit in September was an absolute personal highlight. The summit was an opportunity for me to invite IFLA colleagues to Australia, but also to share the IFLA experience with Australia. We had over 70 countries represented at this three-day event. Australians valued the opportunity to engage with international colleagues. It was also an opportunity for us to introduce innovation to our curatorial approach. The success of this approach was considered in the WILIC review and underlines the potential for future IFLA events to be a space where we can take on big themes, and you will see this approach in Busan. The Brisbane Summit was the launch pad for both the IFLA Trend Report 2024 and the IFLA Strategy, which I will discuss shortly. In February, the Governing Board approved the terms of reference for the IFLA Governance Structure Health Check. Following significant consultation with membership and volunteers, a new governance structure was introduced in 2021. The health check is an opportunity to determine if the objectives set in 2021 have been achieved and to ask, do we need to make changes? The health check reflects our commitment to strong governance and continuous improvement. There is good progress with the working group I'm leading, and we are due to submit a report to the Governing Board in February 2026. There have been other achievements this year which the Governing Board has led. Firstly, the Willick Review, one of our key objectives, was led by President-elect Leslie Weir. Secondly, a new volunteer code of conduct led by Professional Council Chair Tapaya Parektai. The code has been created to guide volunteers working within the context of existing approved IFLA statutes, rules of procedures, policy statements and core values. It outlines expected and required behaviours that support respect, fairness and inclusivity, which helps us to create a welcoming and supportive community. Thirdly, confirmation of our congresses in advance of getting back on track. Busan in South Korea will host Willick 2026, and we anticipate the destination of Willick 2027 will be announced soon. And fourthly, at our final Governing Board meeting on Saturday, the terms of reference for the Ethics Advisory Committee were approved. This new committee will provide strategic advice to the Governing Board on ethical issues, guidance on IFLA's codes of conduct, and provide a process for managing complex or serious conduct matters. I thank Tapaya for her leadership of the working group that led this work. I would now like to address the 6 priorities that I outlined at the commencement of my term in August 2023. Essentially, my goal was to leave IFLA in a better place for the next President and Governing Board. Over the last 2 years, I've reported on our progress each month through a dashboard which is available on the IFLA website. So let's briefly work through those 6 objectives. Objective 1 was agreeing the IFLA strategy, and it's completed. It was launched at the Brisbane Summit, and IFLA's work reflects its priorities. It has also been discussed at a number of sessions here in Astana. 2, to deliver the IFLA Trend Report, which is completed. It was launched at the Brisbane Summit, and there have been further additions to support its implementation. A strong tool that can be used globally for us to consider our place in the future. Specifically, how do libraries want to position themselves to be effective and meaningful to their respective communities? 3, an effective and well-functioning Governing Board, and that's been achieved. The new Code of Conduct for Governing Board members has provided the context for our work. We meet regularly and share the outcomes of our discussions and decision-making with members and volunteers through more detailed minutes. Our IFLA parliamentarian, Martin Wade, attends all Governing Board meetings to provide advice on governance and guidance on the application of the IFLA statutes and rules of procedure. This Governing Board has been united in getting work done and working together. 4, closer engagement with members, achieved. From your feedback, I know that you have appreciated our focus over the last 2 years. Our recent membership survey reports that 96% of members see their IFLA membership as valuable. Our initiatives have included more frequent and detailed updates from Governing Board meetings and monthly updates, regular town halls, a pilot of observer attendance at virtual Governing Board meetings, and yesterday's In Conversation with the GB was another example of the Governing Board's accessibility and transparency. 5, review our Congress model. Review has been completed and implementation is underway. I acknowledge the work led by President-elect Leslie Weir, supported by a working group, to complete the Willick Review. There was clear feedback from our membership that a new model was needed to reflect the needs of our membership, but also the context of fiscal constraints for our members. The delivery of Willick 2026 in Busan, particularly the Congress program, will reflect the recommendations of the review. And 6, the final objective, maximise financial sustainability. Arguably, one of the most important responsibilities of any Governing Board is to ensure financial sustainability. I can report that IFLA is in a strong position, and our Acting Treasurer, Stuart Hamilton, will give the detail on this objective. Last year, with the support of our members, we were able to attain ANBI status, which is equivalent to charity status. This was an important milestone as it can make us a more attractive partner to some funders. I thank the Federation for supporting this change. We have also achieved unqualified audits and much more. IFLA now has a sustainability strategy that outlines our commitment to broadening our revenue streams, and this is already demonstrating success with a pipeline of grants confirmed and further bids waiting outcomes. We have strengthened financial reporting and analysis. A risk management program has been initiated. And most importantly, we have signed a project and funding endowment agreement with Stitch Ting IFLA Global Libraries, SIGL. This agreement outlines the budget allocations that will be transferred to IFLA through several years until 2030. We have also reached agreement on a changed model of approval for budget allocations linked to agreed objectives. SIGL will no longer be required to approve individual invoices related to IFLA work. In accordance with their role as agreed in 2016, however, they will have the opportunity to conduct regular audits of our accounts. This new model will be more efficient for IFLA and SIGL. For IFLA, it will be more effective and provide certainty for our planning and service delivery. In reflecting on the achievement of this objective, however, I admit that it was more difficult than I anticipated. Across the 2 years of my term, there has been significant time and energy required by the IFLA Governing Board, Secretary-General and IFLA staff to respond to SIGL requests and also to achieve an agreement with SIGL. On the pathway to reaching our agreement with SIGL, we initiated legal proceedings. In December 2024, together with our legal representatives and the Secretary-General, I attended the hearing in the District Court in The Hague. Whilst IFLA was satisfied with the outcome of that hearing, it took until the 6th of June 2025 to reach agreement with SIGL on the project and funding endowment agreement. Confirmation of this funding allows IFLA to take a much more strategic approach to delivering on the goal of the original legacy grant from the Gates Foundation, with the mission to leave the library field strong. During 2025, all subsequent discussions with SIGL have been via our respective legal representatives. The SIGL board has declined to meet with the IFLA board or myself. It is my sincere hope that moving forward, both IFLA and SIGL will continue to be focused on our common objective, a stronger global library network. In conclusion, I am proud of the progress that has been made against our 6 priorities. The achievements are a testament to the commitment and work of many. The IFLA leadership team, supported by all IFLA staff, the Secretary-General, the Governing Board, and our broader federation. Everybody has contributed. Thank you. I hope that you agree the Governing Board and IFLA team have made good progress against all 6 objectives. I acknowledge that there is still more to be done, and some of the priorities will carry forward to the next Governing Board. When it meets for the first time on Friday, it will be their opportunity to develop their own roadmap of priorities. On behalf of the outgoing Governing Board, I wish them success. I am confident that strong and effective leadership will be the hallmark of the 2025 to 2027 Governing Board led by Leslie Weir. I thank you for the privilege of being your President for 2023 to 2025. In doing so, I acknowledge the significant support I've enjoyed from the Governing Board, Secretary-General, IFLA staff and the broader membership. In the closing ceremony tomorrow, I will make my final address as IFLA President, a time for reflections and acknowledgements. Thank you. And now I'm happy to invite IFLA's Secretary-General, Sharon Memmis, to take the floor to present IFLA's annual report.
Good afternoon. Before I begin, because we are having connectivity issues, I would request that everybody who does not need their device to vote switches to airplane mode, if possible, please, so that we can maximize connectivity. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Vicky. I think this is a moment of real significance as we mark the conclusion of your 2-year term as IFLA president. You have been an extraordinary leader. With calm resolve and thoughtful direction, you have helped IFLA navigate complexity and change. Your leadership has not only steadied us, it has strengthened us. And under your leadership, we have become more focused, more resilient, and, true to your presidential theme, stronger together. Thanks to you, IFLA is clearer in purpose, bolder in ambition, and more united in spirit. You leave behind not just a legacy, but momentum. And we are profoundly grateful for your dedication, your clarity, and your vision. Thank you. But this session is our moment to reflect, to look back at the past year through the lens of our annual report. You have all received it, and the final designed version will follow shortly. As ever, it is just a snapshot. It cannot capture everything, but it offers a clear view of our shared energy, commitment, and impact. For me, this also marks 2 years as IFLA's Secretary General. In that time, I've met extraordinary librarians across the globe, and each encounter has deepened my admiration for the profession and for the people who drive it forward. It's been a front row seat to brilliance, purpose, and the essential role that libraries play in shaping lives. What a joy and a privilege. And of course, IFLA isn't a library, it's a structure, it's a space, it's a catalyst, and we exist to connect, to support, and to amplify, turning individual efforts into collective strength. This is global librarianship, rooted in what we share, enriched by what we bring, and bold in what we build together. International cooperation today is not optional, it is essential for a truly global organization. But we must be grounded in humility and respect. No one holds the blueprint for how things should be. Our strength lies in listening, learning, and working across difference, not despite it, but because of it. And here in Astana, among the IFLA family, that spirit is unmistakably alive. I'd like to talk about the strategy now. So our new strategy, agreed and launched in 2024, builds directly on this spirit. It recognizes IFLA's unique role in animating the global library field and the field's vital contribution to sustainable futures through access to knowledge and information. It places strong emphasis on adaptability and adoptability, ensuring relevance not only globally, but at regional and local levels too. The strategy also shapes the structure of our annual report and this presentation, grounding our reflections in a shared framework for action with a focus on impact. I'd like to talk about our Impact Area 1. Libraries are connected and energized through vibrant global professional communities. This is in many ways the heart of our work, driven by the energy and expertise of our members and volunteers. IFLA must be that place of vibrant exchange. It must be a global platform where every library professional is welcomed, heard, and empowered. And this isn't just about sharing ideas, it is about building that momentum, fueling collaboration, and creating a sense of belonging. And without this energy and connection, IFLA would be like a think tank, valuable but detached. With it, we become a movement, active, inclusive, and driven by purpose. And a strong indicator of how vibrant our community is are the 6 standards and guidelines released in 2024, actually a record for IFLA. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Our members and volunteers have produced a huge number of meaningful outputs, reports, publications, webinars and training sessions that reach across borders and topics. And in fact, over half the members who responded to our surveys reported that learning through the activities of our professional units featured really highly. This is impact in action, knowledge shared, skills built, and community strengthened. Through the Brisbane Summit, already covered by Vicky, we explored new formats. We learned quickly, and those lessons have helped shape this Congress. That same thinking has guided the Willick Review throughout 2024, led with insight and care by President-elect Leslie Weir. And we must also remember the value we bring to our members, both long-standing and new. This year, we welcome members from 4 new countries: Togo, St. Lucia, Seychelles, and Côte d'Ivoire. Each one, indeed, applaud. Each one strengthens our global voice. Membership is central to everything we do. Members contribute not just fees, though that is extremely important, but more importantly, the volunteers, ideas, and legitimacy for our advocacy work. And this is why we continue to improve the member experience, because when our members thrive, our movement grows, and the global voice of libraries gets louder. And please do look at some of the great quotes that you're seeing from our members. And this is the impact area focused on raising the profile of libraries, Impact Area 2. And really the value to external partners. And the goal here is very much about influencing laws and practices and positioning libraries as essential partners in their work. And through this work, we aim not only to support the sustainability of IFLA and libraries globally, but also to maximize our impact by unlocking new skills, investments, and networks. IFLA has a unique voice in intergovernmental spaces, from the UN and UNESCO to WIPO and the Internet Governance Forum. In 2024, we did more than maintain our presence. We expanded it. We engaged proactively with the Learning Cities Network, leading a project on greening communities, putting libraries at the center of government advice and action. At the 2024 High-Level Political Forum, our delegation made waves. Librarians spoke directly with their senior national representatives, including some royalty, and laid the foundations for a new group at the UN of Friends of Libraries amongst the ambassadors. And this work was supported by the publication of our 2024 Development and Access to Information Report, made possible by the support of the Gates Foundation via SIGIL. We received a major vote of confidence. Our partnership with Arcadia was renewed with a 5-year grant of €5.5 million. And this isn't just strategic funding, it is a powerful enabler. It means we can provide direct support to library associations, amplify our advocacy in Brussels, and extend our reach and relevance across the global policy landscape. We intensified efforts to put the building blocks in place for an even stronger focus on partnerships in the future. And in 2024, we assessed the funding landscape globally and regionally and drew powerful lessons about what we must do to be ready. That means identifying partners who share our goals and values and ensuring we are equipped to engage with them effectively. And this work is not just preparatory work, it really is transformative, and it positions us to channel more resources into the library sector and open new doors for our members and volunteers to make a lasting impact. Moving on to Impact Area 3, libraries are enabled to deliver meaningful change at all levels. Alongside our vibrant professional communities and our outreach to intergovernmental organizations and partners, we are focused on building capacity at both the individual and systems level across the library field. IFLA's volunteer units play a vital role, delivering training through webinars that reach colleagues who may not have had access to other learning opportunities. This is practical support with real-world impact. But we are ambitious. We are looking to raise our game, especially at the regional level, to ensure libraries everywhere have the tools, competence, and connections they need to lead change in their communities. In December, together with IFLA's President, Vicky MacDonald, we formally opened the MENA Regional Office. It marks a major step forward in regional empowerment, and I warmly recognize the Qatar National Library team for their outstanding leadership. Our impact training has been a standout success. It began with a cohort of 12, 2 from each region, trained in November 2023. Since then, over 1,000 colleagues worldwide have benefited from this cascade training. That is capacity building with reach, depth, and momentum. In Latin America and the Caribbean, we delivered an ambitious workshop across 2 cities, including a session at the UN offices in Santiago, focused on building strong and sustainable library fields. It helped embed the habit and the skills of integrating the future into planning today. We also commissioned work to help us offer more effective support for strengthening library associations and the wider library ecosystem. But this is about readiness, resilience, and results, ensuring libraries are equipped to lead change with confidence and credibility. A key part of enabling meaningful change is investing in emerging leaders. That is why it was fabulous to see so many engaged at the Information Futures Summit in Brisbane. They were not just participants, they were central to the program, and they led the development of the skills agenda for the Trend Report. Their energy, insight, and leadership are shaping our future. And if this is the next generation, our future is not just bright, it is brilliant. I'd like to talk about the enabler, about future-proofing IFLA. Everything we do, from supporting vibrant volunteer communities to global advocacy and capacity building, depends on IFLA's ability to serve its members efficiently and effectively. Future-proofing means strengthening our foundations. It means ensuring our systems, structures, and resources are fit for purpose, agile and resilient, ready to deliver impact in a fast-changing world. A major step in future-proofing IFLA was securing ANBI, or charity status, in July 2024, removing a key barrier to funding, with many donors only able to support registered charities. And in line with Vicky's priorities, we have reinforced transparency and good governance, refreshing policies, strengthening processes, and holding regular leadership community meetings to share openly and seek input. Structures matter, but infrastructure is critical. Our ability to deliver depends on robust technical systems, often unnoticed until they fail. In an age of rising cyber threats, we have invested significantly to keep our website and repositories secure, stable, and ready to support global exchange and learning. We've also expanded our project portfolio in line with our strategy. Alongside the renewal of the Knowledge Rights 21 programme, we are contributing to the EU-level Intellectual Property for Open Science initiative and advancing work on media literacy. These projects show what we collectively can achieve and send a strong signal about the power and potential of libraries. We also held our elections, including the introduction of a new pre-nominations phase. This helped broaden the pool of candidates and increase diversity, a positive step forward. Our elections process is complex, reflecting the global and representative nature of our organization. As in previous years, we worked with an external elections company to provide the voting platform. Their technology is designed to ensure a simple, secure, and confidential process. During the process, an error was identified in how vote weightings were applied. We acted quickly and decisively to uphold fairness and transparency while ensuring that all incoming committees could begin their work on time. The elections company recalculated and provided corrected results, and we can confirm that confidentiality and anonymity were fully maintained throughout. Thanks to this, we met all relevant deadlines, and our new and incoming volunteers are ready to begin their work. We should also take pride in the fact that we saw a higher rate of participation in nominations than in previous years, along with increased regional diversity across our professional units. A thorough review of the election process is, however, a priority for IFLA headquarters and the incoming governing board. We are committed to simplifying and strengthening the system, ensuring it reflects our values, supports our members, and builds trust across our global community. There is plenty more to report, and even more that the report does not cover. But overall, I hope you will agree that 2024 has been a year of focus. Focus on the things we need to get right to ensure IFLA's sustainability, effectiveness, and relevance into the future. I want to thank Vicky MacDonald and the outgoing governing board, as well as all our members, volunteers, and partners for their dedication and support. And I want to offer a personal tribute to Vicky. She has worked tirelessly, balancing a demanding day job with her IFLA responsibilities, carrying them out during her holidays, weekends, and evenings. I have truly enjoyed working with Vicky, and I'm grateful for her support during my first 2 years at IFLA. I think we made a great team. So Vicky, enjoy a new concept called free weekends, evenings, and holidays. You really have earned them. And I look forward to seeing you in Busan next year, much more relaxed, but I hope to see you before. So thank you very much. Madam President, I conclude this report to the meeting and would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. If you are online, please put your questions in the Q&A with your name and organisation. I will also address questions from the floor. If you have a question and you're present in the auditorium, I ask that you go to the microphones to ask your question. Thank you, Sharon. We have no questions, but I would like to take a moment to acknowledge our donors who've added so much to what we are able to accomplish across the last year.
Okay, thank you. Our donors take different forms, from those institutions that support our regional offices and language centres to libraries and institutions who annually provide financial support. There are also individuals who generously support our activities. And this year, we're pleased to include further support through organizations such as the European Union and Arcadia. So, the donors are, that I'd like to thank, the National Library of the Netherlands, Koninklijke Bibliotheek, and the host of IFLA HQ, our neighbors and friends. The National Library of Singapore, the host of the IFLA Asia and Oceania Regional Office, a fantastically dynamic team. The University of South Africa, Pretoria, host of IFLA Sub-Saharan Africa Regional Office. I do intend to visit one day. And the Biblioteca del Congreso de la Nación, Argentina, the host of IFLA's Latin America and Caribbean Regional Office. Again, a wonderfully dynamic team. And the National Library of Qatar in Qatar, the host of the IFLA MENA Regional Office. I've already been there. It's wonderful, and the team, and I must highlight Ayman as the manager there, who has done a fantastic job as the new region. I'd also like to thank the Biblioteca Alexandrina in Egypt, our IFLA Language Center for Arabic, the National Library of China, the host of the IFLA Language Center for Chinese, Sheikh Anta Diop University, Senegal, the host of the IFLA Language Center for French in Africa. And I would also like to thank our very generous donors, the National Library of Australia, the National Library Board of Singapore, the National Library of Finland, the National Library Service of Barbados. And I'd like to thank our other funders, the Arcadia Fund, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Stichting IFLA Foundation, and Gold Leaf. I would also like to acknowledge our major sponsors who played such an important part in the success of the IFLA Information Futures Summit. OCLC, Zochel, EBSCO, and the supporting partners, State Library of Queensland, Brisbane Australia Tourism and Events Queensland, the Plough Inn, Brisbane Convention and Exhibition Centre, and Qantas. Your belief in our work doesn't just fund it, it strengthens it. So thank you for your ongoing support. Please join me in a round of applause to thank our donors, sponsors, and partners. Thank you. IFLA may be approaching its centenary in 2027, but others are already celebrating major anniversaries. Please join me in celebrating the following anniversaries for 2025. The Association des Professionnels des Bibliothèques Francophones de Belgique, celebrating 50 years. The Association of Parliamentary Libraries in Canada, Association des Bibliothèques Parlementaires au Canada, 50 years also. Sociedad Española de Documentación e Información Científica, also 50. The International Association of Libraries, 70. We're growing. Persatuan Pustakawan, Malaysia, Librarians Association of Malaysia, 70. Excuse my Malaysian accent there. And quite fittingly, the Korean Library Association, 80. Colegio de Bibliotecólogos del Perú, 80.
Asociación de Bibliotecólogos del Uruguay, 80. I'm embarrassed at my pronunciation here because I even went to the event, but I will try. Magyar Könyvtárosok Egyesülete, Association of Hungarian Librarians, 90. And what a wonderful celebration it was. Association for Library and Information Science Education, 110. And the Swedish Library Association, Svensk Biblioteksförening, 110. One of our founder members and also provided the first chair of IFLA in 1927. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sharon. I now invite Stuart Hamilton to present the Treasurer's report on the annual accounts for 2024.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have the privilege to present to you the Treasurer's report on IFLA's 2024 annual accounts as endorsed by the Governing Board at its meeting in July. I'm very happy to report that the auditors have again given IFLA an unqualified audit. In other words, in the opinion of our auditor, the 2024 financial statements present a true and fair view of IFLA's financial position. The auditors have reviewed the accounts, internal processes, and administration, and they have confirmed their integrity. This provides us with continued confidence in IFLA's financial management. In line with our commitment to transparency, the Governing Board is pleased to once again publish the full audited financial statements, this time for 2024, accompanied by detailed notes. These were sent out to members ahead of this General Assembly. This continues the path that we set out on last year to provide members with more complete insights into IFLA's financial situation. While the result is negative, as anticipated, we had planned for this and expected it in our budget. IFLA ended the 2024 financial year with a deficit of €373,378. This was largely due to the fact that no World Library and Information Congress was held in 2024, and therefore we did not benefit from the income that such an event generates for us. Importantly, despite the result, IFLA's reserves remain strong. At the end of 2024, we held nearly €1.6 million in reserves, well above the commonly recommended minimum equivalent to 6 months of operational costs. While this level is not legally mandatory, it's a widely accepted benchmark for non-profits to ensure financial stability. And this reserve gives IFLA the necessary buffer to safeguard operational continuity and to continue developing and delivering value to our members and the global library field, even in challenging times. As we look ahead to our centenary in 2027, the Governing Board's focus remains on building IFLA's long-term financial sustainability. A significant step forward in this direction was the successful recognition of IFLA as an ANBI, a public benefit organisation under Dutch law, in 2024. This status brings tax advantages for donors and enhances our position when seeking external funding. It also confirms that IFLA meets high standards of transparency and public accountability, and we look forward to using this new status to strengthen our sustainability and attract new partnerships. An agreement has also been reached with Stichting IFLA Global Libraries, or SIGL, regarding the disbursement of the remaining Gates Foundation funding awarded to IFLA in 2016, which enables us to develop multi-year plans. Let's now take a closer look at the 2024 Statement of Income and Expenditure. Now, while full details are available in the financial statements, I'd like to highlight some key elements. On the income side to begin, following a 4% increase in membership fees, income from membership rose from €810,419 in 2023 to €826,349 in 2024. While the absence of a Congress may have affected some membership numbers, particularly in this case individual or affiliate members, the overall number of members has remained stable. Income from the joint account agreement with SIGL was higher in 2024 compared to previous years. The increase is primarily due to higher legal fees, costs associated with settling with a former employee, and expenses related to employing an interim finance director. These extraordinary expenses were partly reimbursed through the joint account agreement. As a result, and moving on to expenditure, overall spending increased in 2024 compared to 2023. This rise was mainly due to the aforementioned expenses related to the settlement with a former employee. Furthermore, we had a significant increase of legal fees due to our involvement in court proceedings. Some of these additional costs were unplanned, but they were necessary to support IFLA's governance and operations. Part of these expenses were partially reimbursed through the joint account agreement with SIGL, which contributed to offsetting the impact. Now, when we assess IFLA's financial sustainability, we focus on the normalised result. This refers to the organisation's financial outcome, excluding exceptional or one-off items that are not part of regular operations. It provides us with a more accurate picture of IFLA's underlying financial health. As noted, the overall deficit for 2024 was €373,378. However, this figure includes several extraordinary expenses that are not expected to recur in future years. By excluding these exceptional costs, as detailed in the slide, the normalised result for 2024 shows a surplus of €105,421. The primary contributor to the loss is the correction of accumulated losses in the IFLA holding BV, totalling €301,113. This is the results participations figure in the slide. In IFLA's standalone financial statements, the value of its participation in the conference BV had not previously been adjusted for €58,319 in losses from previous years, based on the expectation that future profits would offset them. However, following a substantial loss of €243,113 in 2024, driven by the IFLA Information Futures Summit not generating sufficient income to cover staff and delivery costs, and additional expenses of approximately €24,542 from the cancellation of the WLIC in Dubai, IFLA's auditor advised a correction to reflect the reduced value of the participation. This adjustment ensures that the standalone financial statements present a true and fair value and view of the financials of IFLA. In regards to the extraordinary items line in the slide, as I mentioned earlier, we incurred €100,751 in extra expenses related to the settlement with a former employee, and there were €51,107 in legal fees arising from court proceedings with SIGL. And finally, I note a €25,828 correction related to unreconciled vouchers, which had remained on the balance sheet since IFLA began administering the voucher scheme nearly 20 years ago. We are currently exploring new ways to manage the voucher scheme that maintain its usefulness while reducing its impact as a long-term liability on our balance sheet. Looking to the future, I would like to end my presentation with some general comments on the Governing Board's priorities for 2025 and beyond. As already noted, one of my key priorities as Treasurer is to work with the Governing Board and headquarters staff to build our Federation's long-term financial sustainability. An important step here is building on our ANBI status. As noted by our President, this change in our status should make us a more compelling partner to some funders. We now have to drive forward, making more funding and partnership agreements happen, and I hope to be returning to you this time next year to report back. Connected to this is our new sustainability strategy, also mentioned by our President. Partnerships are at the core of this, and our partnership with SIGL is of crucial importance, as IFLA members have benefited enormously from SIGL funding over recent years, as is our partnership with the Arcadia Foundation for the Knowledge Rights 21 programme. However, both of these funds are of course finite, and this is why financial sustainability, income diversification, and building on the AMBI status are such important priorities for IFLA. Beyond our generous funding partners, IFLA is very grateful to the members, affiliates, and volunteers who support us, not just through donations, but also through contributions in kind, such as hosting activities and those most valuable of resources, time and passion. And then finally, outside of funding, we must continue to strengthen our membership offer, to explore other services that generate income, and certainly to ensure that the WLIC is financially stable and sustainable. 2025 has seen a review of the current conference format, and in 2026 we will take a deep look at the financial model. During my term as Treasurer, I'd also like to develop something like a Treasurers' Network to support financial knowledge exchange across IFLA's members so that the field can benefit from shared experiences and approaches and become more resilient as a result. In summary, therefore, first of all, what you have in your hands is the externally audited full version of the accounts, a true picture of where IFLA stands. Secondly, I can confirm that the internal control systems and governance are robust and effective. And third, we are financially in good shape and have sufficient resilience. And our 2025 budget forecasts a small surplus. With this, I conclude the annual report of the Treasurer for 2024, and I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stuart. If you have a question, please put it in the Q&A along with your name and organisation, and we will also take questions from the floor. So if you're in the auditorium and you have a question, could you please go to the microphone? There being no questions, I call for a mover and seconder for the... Oh, sorry, Ellen.
Thank you very much. Ellen Tice from Stellenbosch University. First of all, I would like to thank all three of the speakers this afternoon for the very positive as well as excellent report. In particularly, I would like to use this opportunity to also congratulate the acting treasurer, because it's after a number of years now that I think we as members can have a sigh of relief to see and to hear that IFLA is again on the right track and on the right journey, and particularly around the plans that are in place to ensure the future sustainability of the organization. I have just one question, and it's probably more in terms of clarification, and that is regarding the comments that were made regarding the SIGL Foundation. I've heard the President said that, and you have also mentioned that in your report now, Stuart, namely that an agreement has been reached that regarding the disbursement of the funds as originally intended, and I heard 2030. So the question is, does that mean at the end of 2030 that the disbursement, once the funds have been used, the question is basically what happens after 2030 that I need to know. And as you said, it is so critical in terms of IFLA.
Thank you, Ellen. So the agreement that we've reached with SIGL, as has been mentioned by both the Secretary General and our President, enables us to plan much more securely by having a budget allocation made out to us on an annual basis for the next 2 years that we can work against and plan for, as opposed to claiming money back. So there's a positive short-term benefit for us there. As the agreement with Sigel moves towards the end of its time and the money is drawn down through these annual disbursements, there's a period by which we have to wait a little time before the remaining money in the grant is able to be transferred to us. But any unspent funds at the end, once everything is taken care of in terms of wrapping up Sigel expenses, etc., can be transferred to us.
There being no further questions, I call for a mover and a seconder that the annual accounts for 2024 be approved. I call... Oh, we have a mover. Was it Winston, was it? Yes. Thank you, Winston. And I call for a seconder for the motion.
In which case, the motion as presented is moved by Winston Tabb and seconded by Ellen Tice.
We will approve the annual accounts via a formal vote. Please stay with us while the vote takes place. Voting members, please make your vote now. The motion will appear on your device. Voting has closed. The result is 889 for in favour, 0 against and 29 abstentions. Congratulations, the annual accounts are approved. The next item on the agenda is the formal announcement of the results of the ballot for the election of President-elect and for places on the Governing Board. IFLA held elections this year for the positions across all its committees. The positions of the President-elect, Treasurer and 5 members at large of the Governing Board are elected by the members. The President-elect has an essential leadership role, working with the IFLA President and the Governing Board to provide inspiration and guidance to the Federation as a whole. As a result of the election for President-elect is Tapaya Trinkatai, New Zealand. Congratulations, Tapaya.
The Treasurer will lead efforts to ensure the financial sustainability of the Federation, strengthening our ability to support the field into the long term. The result of the election for Treasurer is Stuart Hamilton. The following individuals were elected as members at large of the Governing Board: Anja Feldreuter, Julia Konopka-Szolnieczuk. Sorry, my apologies, Julia. Jan Richards, Lisa Hinchcliffe, Sylvia Stasilova. These individuals will join the Governing Board in the following capacities: Athena Salaba, Chair of the Professional Council; Ertuğrul Çimen, Chair of the Regional Council; Loida Garcia Febo, Chair of the Management of Library Associations section. Congratulations to all, and we look forward to you fulfilling the faith that the members and volunteers have placed in you.
Congratulations to you all. The rules of procedure relating to motions and resolutions at the Assembly meetings are included in the IFLA General Assembly papers. We now move to the first of the official motions in the agenda, and I invite the Secretary-General to present the rationale and motion to approve the holding of the next General Assembly in August 2026.
Background is that the legislation of the Netherlands, as stated in the Dutch Civil Code Part 2, Sections 48 and 49, requires that the Governing Board must submit an annual report and annual financial statements to the General Assembly within 6 months of the end of the financial year, unless the General Assembly has extended this period. The period may be extended on account of special circumstances for no more than 4 months. This is reflected in Article 8.2 of the statutes. IFLA's financial year ends on the 31st of December, and its General Assembly usually meets during the Congress, normally in August, more than 6 months later. The General Assembly must therefore authorize the Governing Board to present the annual report and financial statements at the next Congress. IFLA's lawyers advise that this authorization has to be given every year. A blanket authorization is not permissible. The Governing Board calls upon the General Assembly to vote on the following motion regarding the next General Assembly in August 2026. To authorize the Governing Board to convene the General Assembly to coincide with the next IFLA World Library and Information Congress, normally held in August 2026. In the case of an unavoidable delay, the General Assembly may be convened at a later date, but no later than the 31st of October 2026.
I will call for a mover and seconder for the motion. I call for a mover. And I call for a seconder.
So the motion as presented is moved by Claudia Lux and seconded by Louis Quafagan.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak to the motion? If you're in line in the Q&A or to the microphone here in the room. We will now move to approve the motion via a formal vote. Please stay with us while the vote takes place. Voting members, please make your vote now. The motion will appear on your device. Voting has closed. The result is 956 in favour, 0 against, and 23 abstentions. The motion is approved. Thank you. We now move to item 10.2, motions to approve membership fees for 2026 to 2028. I ask the Secretary-General to provide the background for this motion.
The Governing Board calls upon the General Assembly to vote on the following motion regarding annual membership fees for 2026, 2027 and 2028. The Governing Board proposes that the General Assembly empowers the Governing Board to increase the membership fees in all categories by the percentage of the official retail price inflation as recorded by the Netherlands government since the time of the last increase. In a year where the average retail price increase is below 1%, the Governing Board may increase the membership fees in all categories up to 2% in order to ensure financial sustainability. The General Assembly will continue to approve the IFLA membership rates for all categories at intervals of no more than 3 years.
Since 2006, the General Assembly has agreed the annual membership fees of IFLA every 3 years. In 2025, the General Assembly is asked to again approve a motion for the years 2026, 2027 and 2028. In 2016, the General Assembly agreed a formula, a standard method, for increasing membership fees. This was based on the retail price inflation rate in the Netherlands, where IFLA is based, and so where it occurs most of its costs. It is proposed to use the same process for the next 3 years, using the same formula to decide new membership fees. This would mean that for 2026, 2027 and 2028, members are asked to raise the membership fees by the same percentage as the increase in the retail price inflation recorded by the Netherlands government in the past 12 months. This applies unless the increase is less than 1%. In years when retail price inflation is less than 1%, the Governing Board can recommend an increase of up to 2%. This is to ensure that IFLA can continue to be adequately funded. Members are asked to delegate the setting of membership fees for 2026, 2027 and 2028 to the Governing Board using this same formula. The Governing Board is asked each year in August to set the fees for the following year and can choose to amend the recommended increase within the parameters set by members. The average of the inflation rate in the Netherlands for July 2024 to June 2025 was 3.3%. Do we have someone to move the motion? Thank you, Winston. Do we have someone to second the motion? Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you. So the motion is moved by Winston Tabb and seconded by Leslie Weir.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak to the motion? Please put your comment in the Q&A or come to the microphone. We have one question on the Q&A.
So we have one question from Daisy Selamatsala asking whether we considered the less economically developed countries in these costs.
So I think the answer to Daisy there is that we're proceeding under the authority given to us in the previous General Assembly, which, as set out by the President, is to look at the retail price inflation in the Netherlands when setting the costs. So as per the motion, we are in line with the authority previously granted to us. Now, that's not to say that we're not unaware of the difficulties faced by members all over the world. I think that needs to be recognised, and we're extremely grateful for all members every year renewing their membership. But I think it's also important to sort of state that we're operating under the framework that's been previously agreed.
We will now move to approve the motion via a formal vote. Please stay with us while the vote takes place. Voting members, please make your vote now, and the motion will appear on your device. The voting has closed. The result is 709 for, 185 against, and 75 abstentions. The motion is approved. Earlier in today's reports, we received a report from the Secretary General on the annual report, and I'm pleased to advise that is now online and available on the IFLA website whilst we've been in this meeting. Well, that completes the formal part of the General Assembly. The second part of the Assembly will take place tomorrow at the closing ceremony. However, we need to vote to adjourn the meeting until tomorrow. I will call for a mover and a seconder for the motion. I call for a mover. Thank you, Alan. And I call for a seconder. Thank you, Leslie.
So the motion is moved by Ellen Tice and is seconded by Charlie Malapo.
Thank you. We will now move to approve the motion via a formal vote. I think you know what to do now. The voting has closed. We have 972 votes for, 3 against, and 30 abstentions. The motion is carried. Well, I hope that through today's presentations you have seen how active, how dynamic, and how focused the Governing Board and the IFLA team are on the future of the Federation. We certainly look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the closing ceremony. And that brings us to the end of this part of the General Assembly, and I hope that you will join us tomorrow afternoon to celebrate this Congress. I certainly look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thank you.